Akwa Ibom, a state known for its oil wealth, vibrant culture, and delicious cuisine. But what many don't know is that this state has some of the cleanest cities, most beautiful coastlines, and deeply historic landmarks in Nigeria. Hi, I am Nnamdi Atopolazi, and this is my unforgettable journey through Uyo, Eket, Ibeno, and the haunting memories preserved at the Bridge of No Return of Qua Iboe. Let's go! I landed first in Uyo, the state capital, and then the first thing that struck me, cleanliness. It was rare, in fact almost impossible, to see litter or rubbish on the streets. Not even discarded pure water sachet, like for real. And you see, the neatness was not just limited to the major roads. Even inner streets and village roads were clean, so clean. Uyo is also a beauty to behold at night. Edward housing and Maitama were full of life. Street stands grilling chicken, fish, bole, in fact, a sight that would make you reluctant to go back home. One night delicacy that stood out for me was roasted sardine fish served with cassava soaked in water. You have to taste this to understand the magic, for real. I also tried some local dishes: fisherman soup for 14,000 naira with pounded yam, white soup for 11,000 naira, afang soup for the same price, bangkoko for 14,700 naira, and I had to order it a day ahead. That's how difficult it is to make the food. And of course, many other dishes. Delicious? Absolutely. But cheap? Nah. Uyo no cheapo. Uyo is not cheap. Even transport was expensive. 25-minute boat ride from my hotel in the Housing to the airport was about 20,000 naira. The same fare as Abuja transport rides from Kubwa or Gwarimpa. And those are almost 1 hour trips, so from Uyo, I teamed up with 3 amazing friends, David, Oteotio, and Hadassah, and we hired Mr. Innocent, a boat driver, for the trip to Ibeno Beach. It was a fun 1 hour 12-minute drive. Early on, we bought bole and fish, proper road trip starter pack.
Mr. of enjoyments.
The road was so smooth that when we hit a rough patch near East-West Road, we had to record it out of shock. Imagine Nigerian road being so good that you now had to shout when you see a pothole. But the checkpoints, the checkpoints. Local youths asking for money here and there, and multiple security posts as we neared the beach. But our driver said the roadblocks, security roadblocks, were all because of the ExxonMobil company located around the area. At the entrance of the beach, they initially asked us to pay 1,000 naira per person as gate fee, but we had been told earlier that it was 500 naira. So we haggled well, and afterwards we paid only 500 naira. Victory! And now we're here, Ibeno Beach. Neat, beautiful, peaceful. Ibeno Beach is the longest sandy beach in West Africa, stretching about 30 kilometers along Akwa Ibom's Atlantic coast. We laughed, we played, we took pictures, but the beach wasn't just for fun. There was heavy military presence and there were several vehicles moving across the beach in and out ExxonMobil's facility. A reminder of oil's heavy footprint here. At some point, we fetched water from the ocean as souvenir to take with us back to the city and eventually back to Abuja, only to be warned by a local that it was forbidden for strangers to take beach water away. So we quietly poured it out and left the bottle with them. Ibeno Beach, particularly the area near Ikorabase, played a significant role in the transatlantic slave trade. It was not a major slave trading port like Bonny or Calabar, but served as a transit point for captured slaves. Many of the slaves were marched from inland areas to coastal ports like Akwa Ibom, where they were held in bunkers before being loaded onto ships for the Middle Passage. And in case you're wondering, the Middle Passage is the first voyage of enslaved Africans across the Atlantic Ocean to the New World. In continuation of the slave history tour, we decided to visit the Bridge of No Return in Qua Iboe. We drove for over 15 minutes, asking for directions along the way in case the map wasn't accurate. During one of those stops to ask for direction, it struck me how strange it was that we were asking for directions to visit a place named the Bridge of No Return. What if we didn't return? God, I beg you. Finally, we got there. The Bridge of No Return is on the Qua Iboe River, a river that flows from Abia State through Akwa Ibom and then empties into the ocean. The region was intertwined with the Atlantic slave trade, particularly in the 18th, 19th, and early 20th centuries. We were led by a tour guide who took us around the area starting from the slave house, where slaves were weighed and branded with hot iron.
Wow. Yeah, these are where officers are staying. The marine police there. Okay. So the iron I'm holding here was used to give the slaves mark and back. How they do it? They are going to put it inside the charcoal. When it is really very hot, they will bring it out to give the slaves mark at the back. They will also have this thing was connected to the scale where they used to weigh the slaves. They were weighed like chicken. Some weigh raw, some weigh dry gin, and some weigh cold. It was trade by barter by them because it was trade by barter. You change what you have. So parents come to sell the children to get mirror from the white sea. Comb and dry gin. The iron here is as old as the slave trade. So the white men came with it and abandoned it just after the slave trade. Then who was the middleman? King Jaja Fukubu. King Jaja Fukubu, he was the middleman.
From there, we climbed the Bridge of No Return. The bridge was old, so we had to walk carefully behind the tour guide to avoid falling into the river. Now, even though we wore life vests, we were still scared to our bones. We paid 500 naira for each of the life vests, by the way. The tour guide showed us the floating bunkers where stubborn slaves were kept till their spirit of resistance was broken. The bunkers were right on top of the river and had tiny ventilation holes. We opened up one of them and right inside we went. According to the tour guide, the bunker was meant to house about 30 slaves, but sometimes as many as 150 slaves were squeezed inside. Imagine that we were just 3 inside the bunker, but I could hardly breathe. I was sweating profusely, so it was a shock to imagine about 150 persons being squeezed into the same space.
Once you step in here, you don't going out. It's only when the ship has arrived, that's when they bring them from the warehouse there, down here. Only the stubborn ones. You could see the breaking space I was telling you about. This is where the slaves used to break through. This is where the slaves used to break through.
Okay.
It was meant for 30 and 150 slaves to get. You could see that we are standing on top of water. We are not inside the water. We are just on top of water. That means the jetty is a floating bridge. It floats. If the water is up, it goes up. If there is no way, it will just swim. So you see how our forefathers joined with the white men to deal with us. It's really human. But today we are free.
And this place is hot. Very hot. When you think open, I can barely breathe. Now imagine 150 people inside here. Fuck.
When we came out of the bunker, I started to appreciate freedom afresh. The air felt positively different. God forbid slavery. Next, the tour guide took us to the mock grave of the victims of Aba women's riot. I mean, nobody was buried there, but many of the protesters actually died around there. So the grave is significant. I paid some respect, we took some pictures, and then we meditated. Back at Ibeno Beach, I was happy, taking pictures and laughing. But here at Qua Iboe, I was saddened by the imagination of what our ancestors went through in the hands of slave traders. From there, we visited Lord Lugard's residence, now occupied by people. We visited Lord Lugard's office and were shown some of the office equipment he worked with. At the end of our tour, we gave the tour guide a token, even though she had said a full tour was to cost 10,000 naira per person. So guys, we went to the bridge of no return, and yet we returned. So see my guys marching happily. Now you're coming back from the place of no return. You have gone and you are returning. You have gone and we're returning from the place of no return.
I can never go back.
But if only our enslaved ancestors returned just like us. On our way back to Uyo, we stopped to buy palm wine. It was 300 naira for a bottle. This trip made me fall in love with Akwa Ibom all over again. The food, the beaches, the history. But more than that, the potential. I believe that Akwa Ibom has massive tourism potential. So with the right investment and government attention, it could earn as much from tourism as it does from oil, without, of course, destroying the environment like oil does. In the end, I enjoyed my trip. I enjoyed Akwa Ibom. So I say, Akwa Ibom ayaya.